Hello, good afternoon. My name is Margaret, and this afternoon I'm going to show you how to make a red velvet cake and a gluten-free red velvet cake. I have a slight problem with gluten, and I do like eating the occasional cake, so I just have to make it gluten-free. And some people think that gluten-free cakes aren't quite the same as gluten-rich cakes, and I guess they're probably right, but you know, it's just one of those things. If you really can't eat too much gluten, then you just have to have something else. Because a life without cake would just be really rather dull and boring, and that would be a shame. Now, in this cake, I'm going to follow an idea suggested by another great cook, Nigella Lawson, and she suggested you could use beetroot in place of all that red colouring in your cake, and I think that's a brilliant idea. I have rather a thing about beetroots at the moment. I like cooking them, and I'm growing them, lots and lots, and I've been putting them into chutneys, and I thought, well, this cake is a great new thing to make. And a friend also had recently made brownies with beetroot in, and they were absolutely delicious. Now, also in my cake, because it's gluten-free, I'm using gluten-free flour, but I have substituted half of the flour for ground almonds, so it makes it very much lighter. So here goes. Let's get on with making this cake before we get any other interruptions. Here are my tins, already greased and lined with greaseproof paper. The oven's on. I've got everything ready. Here's my little moulin mix. It's not a very big one, but it's okay. Right, in goes all my ingredients. That's the beetroot and the soft butter, like that. These little pots are wonderful. You can make everything. Get it all ready in advance and pop it all in these pots. Here's the almonds, they're going in. It really does make it very light indeed. I made this cake on Monday, and I just used my first idea with using all gluten-free flour, which was fine, but then when I put half ground almonds in, it made it really rather good. So that's the cocoa, that's the baking powder. I'm going to put in 2 eggs, 2 nice fresh eggs. There's one. Now you can make this all by hand, and you can make it stage by stage. But frankly, I have made so many cakes that now I like to make them quickly as a tea time treat. This cake is actually probably rather more suitable for the weekend or a birthday cake. And Tesco's, who featured this cake as a celebration cake a couple of weeks ago in one of the glossy magazines. They were highlighting an anniversary of theirs, and they had made this. Wait a minute, let me stop talking. This is the vanilla bean paste that's going in now, and I have just, 2 teaspoons of that. You can use vanilla essence if you haven't got the bean paste. It's absolutely fine. I'm just using this because I happen to have some. And I think the flavour is more intense. And then also we put in 1 teaspoon of cider vinegar. So that goes in there. Oh, as I was saying, yes, Tesco celebrated an anniversary recently, and this red velvet cake was one of their special things that they had for their celebration. Now, right, so that's everything in. I'm going to pop the lid on like that, and I can't talk for a minute, so just hold on while I just blend all my mixture together. Pop the lid on. To stop the machine for a second, scrape down the sides so that everything gets incorporated, and then just put the lid on for another perhaps a minute more. There we are. I always get into trouble putting these lids on. Get that for another short while. just to make sure that everything's mixed and it's all ready to go, like that. So I'll take off the lid, pop that over there. I'm going to take this off, and first of all I'm going to lift out the blade. It makes it so much easier to get all the mixture out. And I'll probably be doing this fairly quickly, but you could take much more time to make sure you scrape off all the mixture. This is the only drawback really from making things in a Magimix or food processor of some sort, is that you get all this mixture around the knife, which can be very difficult to get off, well, quickly. If you've got oodles of time, you can use it, and it's absolutely fine. I think that's going to be all right. I've got a little blade over here. So now I'm going to put all this mixture into my 2 tins. And this time, this one, I'm making it into a slightly deeper tin, slightly smaller, so I hope it will rise a bit more. Of course, a gluten-free cake is always going to be a little bit flatter than a gluten-rich cake, because obviously it hasn't got the gluten, and it's the gluten which gives any baked goods, any gluten-free baked goods, the oomph. So without that, your cake's going to be a little flatter, but it's not going to be any less delicious for that. There we are. So if I can get all of this out, don't want to waste any, or leave too much in the cake mixture pan for people to taste. I've been doing that for so many years, I really try not to do it now at all. There we are. Pop that over there. I'm just going to get a fork to spread out my mixture a little bit. I think I'm put it a little uneven. There we are. That's in. And I'm just going to pop that cake into the oven, and it will take about 25 minutes in my oven. It's a very hot fan assisted oven, and it cooks incredibly quickly. So my cake is going to cook for about 25 minutes on 150 degrees centigrade. So there's my cake. Both cakes are going onto the middle shelf, and there it's in the oven. I'm going to set the timer for 25 minutes, and by that time it will be done. So there's my little timer. So that's that done. Now, having made this cake a couple of times already this week, I know that you have to have everything ready when I talk to you. So I've now got everything ready. I've even got a cake that I've just happened to make, and it's cold and it's ready to be decorated. Now it's decorated and filled with a cream cheese filling, rather like the filling that you put onto a carrot cake, you know, with Philadelphia cream cheese and icing sugar and butter and vanilla essence or bean paste. Well, I made this icing for my cake on Monday, and it was very nice, but frankly it was a little too rich. So I've devised another plan whereby I put in the icing that I make some soured cream. So I have Philadelphia cream cheese, or anybody's cream cheese, as long as it's a basic cream cheese, with the icing sugar, with half of the butter, and the other half of the mixture I make up with soured cream. And frankly that makes the cake just a little bit less sweet and less rich, because you see beetroot is quite sweet as well. And I know you've got the cider vinegar in, but I think you need something else just to reduce some sweetness. Of course, if you absolutely adore super rich and super sweet cakes, then by all means use the Philadelphia cream cheese filling completely, and it is rather gorgeous. But I'm just using something slightly less sweet, and I think you'll like it. But try both, do. Well, here's my cake all ready, and I'm just going to get a plate out and put one sponge onto the cake like that, and there's my second sponge. Put wash my hands. It's so sticky making cakes, don't you? Now also on this cake, and this is rather the special thing, you have on the top of the cake, can you see it? It's red sugar. That's granulated sugar and red colouring. Mix it all together and you put a little trail of this coloured sugar all around the top outside rim of your cake. I did think it would be quite nice to put fruit on your cake, but I think you'd have to do that in the summer, because tinned or frozen fruit just doesn't look the same and the colour's not quite as nice. So that was the other idea I had. And then the other idea that people suggest is that you put chopped chocolate strands on the top of the cake. And I tried that and it looks quite nice, but it's not quite the right sort of thing. This is a different cake. It is a newer cake. And I think you want to highlight the redness of it, which is what makes it so eye-catching. So I'd rather abandon the chocolate as I have with the fruit. So I think if you have the red sugar, that makes it rather nice. And the other thing to remember, that this cake with its is rather soft and the icing is rather soft, it's really best to make it the day before that you want to eat it. Then it will have time to set and be absolutely gorgeous when you put it on the tea table. So make it the day before and the icing, put it all together and pop it into your fridge or a cool pantry if you've got one. That would be lovely, wouldn't it? And then you bring it out on the day you're going to serve it. So that's what I'm going to be using. And this is my filling with the sour cream in it. Can you see? So it looks very much like the filling that you would put on your carrot cake. It's just a little less sweet and frankly really rather nice. And the other thing that Tesco's do with their cake, because they make one and sell it, they make a double cake and put it together so you have 4 layers of sponge, 3 layers of icing, and then they put icing on the outside of the cake, on the top of course, and all around the sides, making it a wonderful celebration cake. Well, this is just a 2-layer cake, and I think that's nice for a weekend or a birthday. I'm sure it would be lovely, and I'm sure I probably will make the full 4-layer cake pretty soon. So that goes the icing in the middle, and then I'll hit my other sponge cake. And you see it's quite a thin cake, but that's because it's gluten-free, but it's fine. And that goes on the top like that. Just press it down a little bit so that you can just see the icing coming out. And then I'm going to put some more icing, and probably it will drizzle down the side of the cake, but I think that's fine too. Let's see if it goes. And this is, take that out, I don't know what that is, let's take that out. I think that's a lump of icing sugar that didn't blend properly. There you are. Let's put a little more on. This would really make a lovely cake for a birthday cake too. Red is such a gorgeous colour, don't you think? I absolutely adore red. And I love wearing it. It's a very splendid colour. So there you are, you see, look, it's going down the sides, which is going to be rather fun. You can stick your fingers. Now this red sugar, I'm afraid it is a little bit messy and you're bound to get it on your fingers a bit, but I don't think that really matters too much. It does wash off. And if you do your sugar a couple of days before you want to make your cake, it has time to dry a little bit so that it's not quite so moist with the risk of the colour running. And then if you've got a turntable, which I do have but I haven't got out, if you've got a turntable you can put this coloured sugar on a little more evenly. But I think it looks rather nice, rather sort of delicately put on in perhaps a rather random manner. I think it looks rather fun. And I'm just going to make enough sugar. I have got some more, but I think it's still drying out. And I imagine you can keep this sugar, this coloured sugar, for some time in your fridge. There you are. I suppose if you wanted to put something else on, you could put some chopped nuts on it. That might be quite nice. But, and of course, red candles. If it were a birthday cake, red candles would look absolutely delicious. And there you have it. But you can see the icing is rather moist and rather runny. So if you put that into your fridge and keep it for the next day, you'll see it's absolutely delicious. Now, I also can show you the cake I made yesterday, and it's set beautifully. We've cut a few slices out of it, and I'll just show you this. I'm just going to tidy it up so I can show you the lovely cake inside. And there you are. This is just a 2-layer cake, but you can see how nice. It looks quite dark. It looks rather more chocolatey than red from here, but as you can see, it's set beautifully, and it looks and it tastes very nice indeed. It's a nice dark red colour. So I'm going to put that there, and I'll cut a slice just to show you. I always think to actually see a cut slice shows it off to best advantage. There we are. Oopsie daisy. And there's my cut cake. Can you see? It really does look rather gorgeous. And I imagine you could probably eat that with, well, some cream if you really wanted to celebrate, some cream or some more of the dressing or the icing just on the side. So that's my red velvet cake, and gluten-free to boot, made with beetroot. So I hope you enjoy making it. I hope you'll have a go yourself, and we'll see what we can make another day. Goodbye. Do come back soon. Bye bye.